Arsenal Football Club are back in the Champions League and experiencing its best time in maybe ages. Since their last league title in 2004, Arsenal are struggling to lift that trophy again for the last 20 years. But what we have seen in the last season's title race and the progress Arsenal have made under Arteta, it might be the biggest turning point for Arsenal to bring back the glory to the Emirates, at least since they became invincibles. As it is famously said that before 2003, London belonged to Arsenal, be it trophies, popularity, top players or standing in the league. But was it like this always for Arsenal? Or did they have a bigger turning point in their history than what happened under Wenger or Arteta? I want to discuss that in this video. Before going to the main part of our video, first we have to quickly talk about their early days. You might not know this, but Arsenal was originally a South London club and started with a completely different name. In October 1886, workers of an arm factory in Woolwich formed the Dial Square Football Club, named after a workshop at the heart of the Royal Arsenal complex. But the club changed its name several times in the years to come. Dial Square became Royal Arsenal in 1887, and in 1891, Royal Arsenal became the first London club to turn professional. In 1893, the club was renamed again to Woolwich Arsenal. Woolwich Arsenal was the first southern member of the Football League, starting out in the second division and reaching the first division in 1904. Arsenal experienced a huge financial crisis and was on the brink of bankruptcy in 1910. The club was also facing a significant fall in the matchday attendance. And now is the time to introduce the protagonist of our story, the man who changed Arsenal Football Club forever, Sir Henry Norris. Born in 1865, Sir Henry George Norris was an English businessman and a politician. While he was primarily in the business of real estate, he had strong connections in many other business sectors and government. He made his fortune from these networks and businesses. Henry Norris was known to be a highly influential and dominant person. He knew how to beat someone with words and did not let obstacles stop his goals, even if he was wrong. Henry Norris was the chairman of Fulham and also a director till 1908. When Arsenal were facing liquidation in 1910, he arrived there at the right time and became their majority shareholder. Even though his actual shareholding has been disputed, and per the actual data, it was only 18.75% of total shares. But on the basis of multiple reports, in substance, he was the majority shareholder of the company. And regardless, it is undisputed that he had full control over the decisions of the club after acquiring shares of Arsenal and becoming chairman in 1910. And he continued to stay as the chairman of Fulham also. Norris wanted to merge both clubs and form a super club in Craven Cottage, which was denied by the FA. But it was just the start of his plans to move Arsenal to the top side of English football. And next, Norris wanted to move the club to North London, as he believed that the current location will not help in solving the lower attendance and financial difficulties of the club. But as he proposed his plan, he faced heavy opposition from the local supporters. In 1913, Arsenal got relegated, for which Norris was also blamed as he allegedly underinvested to achieve his aim of moving the club to the north. And irrespective of his role in relegation, it actually came for him as a blessing in disguise. Norris was keen on moving the club to the north, and we all obviously know that he would have succeeded. Broadly, there were three main issues that he had to take care of to complete his move. First was the opposition from main clubs, second permission of local people, and third the approval from the Church of England. Chelsea, Spurs and Orient were against this move, who feared that if happened, this move could erode their fan base. And hence, a committee was formed by FA in this respect. But Norris unsurprisingly had some good friends on the committee. And with the help of his friends and usual tricks, Norris was able to get the committee on his side. And despite protests from Spurs and other clubs, he was granted permission to move to the north, and the committee held that the opposition had no right to interfere. The next hurdle was the local people, which Norris actually handled pretty easily with his strong persuasion skills, convincing them that they will not feel any discomfort at all and that a football club will also be beneficial for the local businesses. The Church of England also needed to give their okay to let Arsenal move to Highbury, but Norris had strong connections up to the top, and with some under-the-table payments, the Church Committee also approved the proposed move. With this, Arsenal moved to Highbury, and the club, founded in Woolwich, South London, now became a North London club. But after a few years, Norris faced another setback with Arsenal getting relegated. They finished 5th in the second division in 1915, after which the league got suspended due to World War I. The league resumed in 1919, and Arsenal, who finished 5th in the second division, seemingly had no chance of promotion. But Norris had other plans. During the World War I, Norris was the mayor of Fulham and also served as a military recruitment officer for the British Army. He got a commission in the army and later got knighted due to his contribution during the war. In 1919, FA proposed to increase the number of clubs in Division 1 from 20 to 22. This would mean that the bottom two clubs, Chelsea and Spurs, will stay in the league, with Spurs having to play third Finnish team of Division 2 Barnsley in a playoff. Arsenal in 5th or 2nd Division had no chance on the basis of merit, but they did not need merit for promotion because they had Norris, who got everything planned. With the help of the league chairman, who also was his friend, and after making discussions with other clubs, he was convinced to get majority votes on his side. Norris promised high gate returns to clubs and financial gains to their directors, and with chairman John McKenna, a close friend of Norris, no suspicion was raised. Norris also convinced the director of Chelsea that they will remain in the first division if Arsenal got promoted. But the Spurs were completely unaware of this whole thing. On the day of voting, Arsenal were voted to be promoted and Spurs would be relegated. It looked completely wrong to Spurs as Arsenal were 5th in the 2nd division. And if any club would have gone further, it would have been those who finished higher than the Arsenal in the 2nd division. Norris cited that Arsenal deserved the spot for their long service to league football. And to be fair, even this reason does not add up, because other clubs like Wolves had been longer in the league. Although Spurs got promoted in the next season and won the FA Cup in 1921, the controversies surrounding 1919 never left. In 1919, Leslie Knighton was appointed as the head coach of Arsenal, but he did not have the final say in the key decisions, especially in the player transfers, as it was Norris who was taking the shots. Norris once rejected a player because of his height and even had forbidden Knighton to spend more than £1,000 on a single player. As Norris' desperation to bring success to Highbury was increasing, Knighton was sacked in 1925, failing to meet his expectation. The club was looking for a new manager, and Norris, in the advertisement, mentioned those who pay exorbitant fees in players' transfers need not apply. Huddersfield Town's manager Herbert Chapman replaced Knighton in 1925, who is today regarded as one of the best coaches in Arsenal's history. Chapman made it clear to Norris that if he wants to bring the success to the club, he will have to provide him a sufficient budget and have patience with him. Chapman's main target in his first season was Charlie Buchan, who was playing for Sunderland and was one of the best strikers at that time. Interestingly, Buchan actually started his career with Arsenal in 1909, but just left after 1 year and joined Leighton in 1910, and then Sunderland in 1911. Charlie Buchan was an elite centre-forward, and he is still Sunderland's all-time top scorer, even after a century. And due to his importance in the team and his fame, Sunderland wanted £4,000 for his transfer. Norris did not like this demand of Chapman, as he was against these inexpensive signings. But he still had to agree because he cannot sack a manager he just appointed and have to back him. But Norris still did not want to pay such a large sum, and he negotiated a deal with Sunderland to pay them £2,000 fixed and £100 as add-ons for every goal Buchan will score for Arsenal in his first season. But that was not it. A journalist from Daily Mail felt there was something fishy in the deal between Buchan and Arsenal, and after 2 years on this story, he claimed that Norris made illegal payments to Charlie Buchan. The Daily Mail reported that these under-the-counter payments were made to compensate for financial losses on his move to Arsenal and were not accounted for in payments made to him by the club. Despite FA's strict rules, it was pretty common practice at that time to attract players with these perks, although through indirect modes. But Norris was literally giving the money to Buchan in a brown envelope publicly. Norris was also facing allegations of using Arsenal's money for personal purposes. This included depositing income of £125 from the sale of team bus in his wife's account and claiming personal expenses from the club's expense account. Norris was a member of the Conservative Party at that time, and these allegations were tainting his public reputation. He challenged these allegations, arguing that the amount of his own money he had pumped into the club, £125, was a meager amount, and he did not find it wrong to spend some amounts occasionally for personal purposes. But the best part is definitely his response on illegal payments to Buchan, for which he said, "We should not have got the player." There were also accusations of asking his team to perform badly against Manchester United and Portsmouth, who were fighting relegation in 1928, so Spurs can be relegated. FA was also investigating these allegations after former Arsenal director William Hall requested to look into the financial affairs of the club. They also fined illegal payments to 3 other players by Norris. After these allegations were proven right, Norris was banned from football for a lifetime. FA's decision was upheld by the court also, and Henry was held guilty for these fraudulent transactions. With the departure of Norris, Chapman got the freedom no manager had experienced in the past. He had full control of the squad and transfers, as Samuel Hillwood, who was now the chairman of Arsenal, did not like to interfere much in day-to-day functioning of the club and decisions concerning the coach. While Chapman took time to build his team and get full control, This finally paid off when Arsenal won the FA Cup in 1930 and the league titles in 1931 and 1933. However, in 1934, Chapman died due to pneumonia, but Arsenal's run continued as they won the league a further 3 times and the FA Cup in 1936. Henry Norris laid the foundation for all the success Arsenal achieved from 1930, but he could not enjoy these good times of Arsenal or be present during the celebrations. Norris died in 1934 due to a heart attack, the same year when the club's legendary coach Chapman passed away. No matter what you think of Norris as a person or of his wrongdoings, especially in the context of Arsenal Football Club, nobody can deny how big a role he played in making Arsenal one of the biggest and historically successful English clubs. Calling him an important figure in Arsenal history is surely an understatement. Norris and Chapman died in the same year, but they might be the 2 most important people in shaping the Arsenal we know today.